Hi guys, it's Mel here from Thermomix. I just thought I'd jump on and give you an introduction to the TM6. So if you haven't seen a Thermomix before, I'm going to run through some of the features and functions of the Thermomix, and also if you have already seen one of the previous models and you just want a little bit of an update as to what is different, I'm going to go through some of those as well. So first off, we'll dive in and I'll just show you the layout, and then I'll walk you through some of the recipes as I prepare for dinner. Okay, so first up, on your manual screen here, you can activate this manually, just like you would the TM31, where you program your own time. So you just select the circle, spin the dial, you program your own time, your own temperature, and then your own speed, okay? You'll notice that the locking arms go on. That's a safety feature that has been introduced so that the ingredients has time to settle before the arms open. So that's just one of the extra safety features that Thermomix have incorporated. So you can activate your Thermomix completely manually. So if you're like someone that just likes to wing it and do their own thing, you have that capability right there. To turn the blades in reverse, all you need to do is actually just hit that little blade button there and it spins it in reverse. So forward motion is the chopping motion and reverse motion is the stirring, okay? So then what we have also built into this machine, no longer like the TM5, do you need the cook key attachment to make it Wi-Fi compatible. That's actually built in to the 6. So all you need to do is flick on your screen from left to right, and that brings up Cookie-Doo. Cookie-Doo is our worldwide recipe platform. I also have another video on my YouTube channel that explains everything about Cookie-Doo, how to use it, how to get the most out of it. So I recommend jumping on there. There's some new features that have been added recently with Cookie-Doo 3.0, where you can upload your own recipes, you can translate recipes in other languages, and you can import recipes from the recipe community. So jump onto my channel, Thermomix, on YouTube and brush up on those. So today I'm just going to have a little bit of a search here. You just activate Cookie-Doo. Now it also has an app to go with it as well. Okay, so you can just search in what you want here. So I've got beetroot salad. You can just press search. I'm going to do a beetroot salad for tonight. You can select it, beetroot salad, press cook today, and then with a matter of seconds, that will arrive into our planner on the machine, which I'll show you in just a minute. You can also do your search on screen. So to go with tonight's dinner, I thought I might do like a potato bag. So we'll just search potato. Okay, the potato gratin. Okay, that looks good. So you just bring it up on screen and just press start cooking, and that will just dive you straight into your recipe, okay? If you don't want to jump straight in, you can just press your little dots there and you can just cancel the recipe. When you're going back to finding your recipes, these 3 little lines at the top of your screen here, you can just jump into my week. So my week is everything that I've planned for today, and we have already planned the chicken Kievs from the Skinny Mixes collection. So I'm going to show you how to mill the crumb that goes on my Kievs. And we also have the beetroot salad here, which I just programmed from the app. So on the app and on the search, you can type in an ingredient or the name of a recipe. So if you have chicken, you can just type in chicken and get all your suggestions for chicken or what have you. We also have lots of filters that you can add in to refine your search. All of those are explained on my Cookie-Doo videos. Okay, so what we might do, we might jump in and we'll do the beetroot salad. You can just press this little arrow down here and you can just have a look at all of the ingredients. You can prepare them before you jump in and just see that you have them all. You also have various steps here. So if you actually had a recipe that had like 2 steps to it, like a meat sauce and then a cheese sauce, you can jump, if you just want to do the cheese sauce, you can just press on that step and it'll jump straight to it. So you can skip ahead. Okay, so I've got all my ingredients here. I'm happy with it. I'm just going to press start cooking. Okay, so it says 400 grams of beetroot. Now, the scales have automatically activated. Okay, so when I take my lid off, I just need to tear my scales back to 0 and then I can start adding my ingredients. So you can do, this recipe is really quite flexible. I just have 1 beetroot, so I'm just going to use 1. It's not quite 400 grams, it's 3, but that's enough. You just press next, activates and clears your scales, and then it asks you for your carrot. Now these carrots here, and for my potato bake tonight, I peeled with our new blade cover peeler. So that's an additional purchase in the mix shop. It just sits above the blades, and in forward motion it peels, and in reverse motion you can use it for slow cook or for sous vide so that the bags don't come in contact with the blades. So I've done my carrots with that. Press next, a bit of onion, next, some apple. Now it's asking for coriander. I don't have any in my garden at the moment, so I'm just going to use mint. Next we have 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Now I don't usually measure, I kind of usually just do a glug glug. Instead of getting a spoon all dirty, what you can actually do at this stage is activate your scales, and then you can just measure in your grams for your oil. So if you're someone that likes to be precise, about 20 grams is about a tablespoon. That's about enough. Then you can just close your scales, go on to the next step. We have some lemon juice. We have some salt and pepper. I'm just going to skip that. Okay, so then is asking us to insert the measuring cup. One thing you'll notice if you have a previous Thermomix is the measuring cup stays in. With the TM6, it has little feet here to help it stay in, as well as gaps to allow the steam to escape. Then all you need to do, it's already pre-programmed. So it's pre-programmed for 5 seconds. It's just going to chop at speed 5. So all I need to do is turn this dial here around to 5 and it's already done. Then it says to serve. So at this point you can always check if there's been a rogue carrot that didn't chop. You can put it back on for another second or 2. It's up to you. See how we go. Beautifully chopped. That's our beetroot salad to go with our Kievs tonight for dinner. We also have a new spatula. This is a flexible silicone tipped spatula which helps to get all the ingredients out of the bowl. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do here is swap bowls for the next part of the recipe. Okay, so I've got a new bowl just to save me washing up. Nice and quick and easy. You can get spare bowls from the mix shop. It's really good to have one for dessert, one for dinner, or as you need to speed up on time. So what I'm going to do now is actually do the crumb for my chicken Kiev. Okay, so I have whole almonds here, and I have my herbs and spices. So I'm just going to go back into my week. I've already planned my chicken Kievs. And we're going to just scroll down. Okay, so it is asking me for the almond crumb first, so we'll just jump in and do that one. Okay, so we have 100 grams of raw almonds, and then it's asking me for the lid so it can mill them. So this is great to make your own almond meal, perfect for any other meals that you want to make, so any other nut. Okay, so just in a couple seconds I have almond meal. Beautiful almond meal there. So this is from the Skinny Mixes collection. So it's a low carb recipe. So it also wants my oregano, my onion powder, paprika, salt, pepper. So I'm going to just add them all in here. And then it's just going to mix it all together. Okay, so we've transferred our nut meal off to the side. Now it's going through the herb butter, which I've already made here. So I'm going to just skip. So I've just got chicken mince here, but it does actually ask for chicken breast. So I'm going to skip the actual chopping part, which turns the breast into mince. But if you're someone that likes to mince your own meat, you can just do that part there. Okay. So we have our chicken breast, we have our egg, and we have salt, add reserved Parmesan. Now I already have grated my Parmesan cheese, so I'm just going to add that one in, but I usually just buy a big block of Parmesan and a big block of cheese and just mill it myself. So it saves any of the anti-caking agents and things like that. So we're just adding the Parmesan cheese in. And I want 20 grams of the reserved Almond Crumb. We're just going to watch the scales here till I have about 20. That will do. Insert the measuring cup. Now remember, this should be breast instead of mince. So instead of 40 seconds, I'm actually going to just do this for 10 and then just check. Now for this recipe, it does say that you can just lightly fry them in a frying pan and then just finish them off in the oven. I like to put mine just in the air fryer, just with a light spray of oil. But here we have the chicken mince. And then the idea of the chicken mince is that you just get a little handful out like so, and you flatten it in your hand. A bit more. We have 4 in my family, so we just divide it up into 4, make a little chicken patty. Then we're going to pop the herb butter in the middle there, and then just fold up the mince around the butter cube, like so. It's pretty easy actually. I've not tried Kiev's before this recipe, so I was pretty happy when I discovered it. So you have a little chicken ball there. That just gets rolled in the almond crumb. Then you let it sit for a little bit and then just give it another second roll so that it gets a really beautiful crumb all over the Kiev. And then I just give it a light spray of oil, and I put mine in the air fryer, but the recipe does say you can pop it in the oven. So that's the Kievs. Now we're going to move on to the potato bake. Okay, so I'm going to cancel this recipe. So the 3 little dots there, cancel recipe, yes. Now, in the recipe, it doesn't actually ask you to steam the potato first, okay? It takes care of all the cooking in the oven, but I'm actually going to steam my potato first, so it just reduces down on the cooking time. Okay, so what we're going to do is just add some water. And lid, taking out the measuring cup, and we have a steaming basket called the Veroma, which sits on top. So I've got all my potato and sweet potato in here, and I actually peel those potatoes with my bake cover peeler and just slice them all up. So what I'm going to do is just steam these for about 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll do the sauce. So I'll see you then. Okay, so the potatoes are finished. They have just come off Veroma, and then we have our beautiful steamed potato there. It's always good to use your lid there as a bit of a drip tray. They're going to go into a dish. Now I'm only doing a small portion of a potato bake because there's only 4 of us, me and hubby and 2 kids, so I didn't want to really do a big one. So I'm just going to halve the recipe for the sauce. So I'm going to just switch this one out. And we'll get going on the sauce. So we're going to go back into the recipe. So we're going into my week, or you can go into recently cooked because I just played it before. So we're going to go down. Anything that you have cooked over the last 30 odd days is kept in a temporary memory. Otherwise, all of your recipes, so you can add them to collections, so your own little private folders. That's all saved on the internal memory. And you can just access them straight from Cookie Doo. So the potato gratin, that was, we're going to restart that one. Okay, start cooking. Okay, so I'm going to halve the recipe because I don't really need the full quantity amount. So we have just a garlic clove. I'm just going to chop that one. I love that it has reminders to put your lid on. A new little feature is also a little preview screen at the top there, so if you want to jump ahead while it's cooking for 5 minutes and get ingredients out for the next step or what have you, you can just click on the preview and see what's coming up. Scrape down the sides. So let's just chop my garlic, nice little finely chopped. We're going to saute that with some butter. So while that's sauteing, let me show you some of the other features, like the modes that are embedded into the TM6. To do that, I'm just going to press my home screen there. It's going to bookmark my recipe, so then I'm free to browse around either cookie dough or have a look at different settings and that sort of thing on my Thermomix. So I'm going to scroll from right to left, and that actually brings up all my modes. Okay, so I'll just go through and let you know what each of those are. So this is where you can independently activate your scales. We also have a pre-clean. I'll show you that one at the end, where you can actually clean your bowl. It's called pre because sometimes, like if you're going to make pavlova or yogurt, you really need a clean bowl to start off with. Make sure there's no bacteria in there. So it's called pre-clean, but most people would use it as a post-clean. We also have dough. It makes amazing dough. We have turbo. Turbo is for a really, really quick, super fast blitz. Like you can turn your peanuts into diced peanuts in like half a second. We have blend mode, which slowly turns the speed up, so you don't have to stand there yourself and slowly turn it up and wait for the whirlpool to develop so that you don't get a big gush if you turned it straight up to high. So that one's just a gradual blend, great for smoothies, things like that. Then we have egg boiler. Now egg boiler is fantastic. You can put your eggs straight in the bottom, put a litre of water, then you can choose what sort of type of egg you like, whether it's hard boiled or medium or soft, whatever you like, choose it. And the blades actually don't spin, they stay dormant for that feature. We have kettle mode, so you can set a precise temperature for your water and it stops cooking once it reaches that temperature. We also have warm-ups. If you want to warm up a soup or something like that, it will stir as it warms it up so that you don't get cold spots like you would warming up in a microwave, where you continually need to stir because it's not equal warming. So you can also pop your butterfly whisk in for that mode, and that helps to stir and keep everything moving. The butterfly whisk comes with it, so that's for doing your meringues or your fruity dream ice cream, things like that. That just sits over the top of the blades. We also have thicken mode, so if you can do your custards or your gravies, things like that. Rice cooker. So the rice cooker mode, as opposed to cooking the recipe, like the boiled rice recipe that cooks it in the basket, the rice cooker mode actually cooks it in the jug. So it's the absorption method where the rice and the water go in together. Okay, so that's finished that step. We're going to be adding our cream. Remember, when you take the lid off, you just tear your scales back to 0. And just doing half, about 100. It's asking for chicken stock, which would be a liquid stock, as opposed to the chicken stock paste. This is the chicken stock paste. We have recipes for it on Cookie Doo. It's fantastic. It adds all your herbs and your chicken, or you can do vegetable or beef, and it's a concentrate. So you actually dilute the concentrate into water, which is what I've done here. I just did about like half a teaspoon just into some water to dilute it to make liquid stock. So I'm just going to put about 25 in. We have some pepper. Excuse me. And we have some salt. Now that's just going to mix together. This is the little preview screen here, so you can hit your preview button, and the next step is then to turn the oven on. You can go back. Okay, and it just says to arrange the layers of the potato in your dish and pour the cream mixture over. So we have our cream mixture there. It's just going to go over the top of my potatoes, and then that will go into the oven. So what we'll do is keep going with the mode. So I'm just going to cancel that recipe. We'll go back to our mode screen. Now we got up to rice cooker, so we'll just scroll down, and as you notice there's more room here for more modes. So recently we just had the peeler mode, which is for the blade cover peeler, which is just automatically set for speed 4. This does work in the TM5 as well, but that one's just already pre-programmed for speed 4, and then you can adjust the time. So when I did those little round potatoes, it took like 3 minutes. But it just sort of depends. You can have a look at them. If they need more, you can put it back on. We have sous vide. So sous vide is when you are using your bags and you're cooking at a low temperature for a long period of time. If you don't have the blade cover, you can sous vide like a steak in your basket here. You just make sure that the water is above the steak, and that keeps it. You can set your temperature, your desired temperature, according to what it is that you are sous vide. We also have slow cook. Now in Cookie Doo we have collections that do require a blade cover, or we have collections that don't. So there is a beautiful like a 5-spice beef cheek from Skinny Mixes that doesn't require the blade cover. It cooks slow cooks for 4 hours, and it's absolutely divine. By the end of 4 hours, those beef cheeks just fall apart. We also have fermentation mode. Now you can use your Varoma, and you can actually do little pot set jars of yogurt, and that just sort of ferments in the top there. You can also do the whole bowl method, like there is a thermoserver bowl that fits into that one, the 2.2 litre thermoserver, and I've done coconut yogurt in there, and that sort of ferments overnight. So that's the fermentation mode. So that's a little bit of a wrap up of the TM6. I have a whole lot more to show you. Feel free to get in contact with me, and I can show you videos of these modes in action with recipes. Sometimes these modes are actually embedded in recipes, or you can use them independently. It really depends on what it is that you're doing. Some of the modes like high heat, so it's not available to use for your own use. It's actually embedded in a recipe. So for example, honeycomb, because this can heat to 160 degrees, that's locked into the recipe. So the measurements need to be absolutely precise so that you get an exact result, and that it's kept safe. So things, like high heat recipes, you get the beautiful caramelization happening on your onions and the bacon and that sort of thing. That adds that extra flavor and texture. So it's a really nice dimension that they've added with the new capacity of the TM6 to get up past 120 degrees, which was the maximum of the TM5. Okay, so I did say I was going to show you the pre-clean. Okay, so for pre-clean mode, otherwise known as post-clean, you just put in a litre of water into a nice buttery bowl. Then you just put a drop of dishwashing liquid. Don't do too much, it'll froth up. Just a drop. Then you just pop your lid on. Important, that part. Actually, even if you don't put your lid on, the arms won't activate, so it's another safety feature. So So we're going into pre-clean. Now you decide on what it is that you've been cooking. So dough doesn't want really hot water because it just makes it really sticky, so it cleans at a lower temperature. Universal is just for everyday cooking. If you have been using fat or caramel, or if you've been using browning, it goes to a higher temperature. You just don't want to use your bubble and soap if you're going to be using vinegar. So vinegar helps to break down sugar. So if you have been doing some the fat or caramel or honeycomb or something like that, it will ask you to put vinegar in there. You just don't actually add your dish soap with vinegar, otherwise it will bubble up. But all that information is actually embedded in your screen here. There's always a little information screen behind a mode which gives you more information. So today is just universal, so I just spin that around to universal and it just does its thing. Okay, so my pre-clean is finished. Pre-clean's a little bit intuitive, so it will actually agitate the water and detect how dirty the bowl is, and it will just adjust its time accordingly. So this one wasn't too dirty, so it's just given it a really good clean. All that residue has been picked up, and then you can either continue on with another part of your recipe if you don't want chunks in there. If you want to get rid of any smells like of garlic and things like that, I find that it's quite fine for this to go in the dishwasher. Takes care of all of those types of smells. If you find you've been doing a curry and your lid has gone green, you can pop it in the sun for a few minutes and actually it takes all that green away. So it can all go in the dishwasher completely fine, except for this part, obviously. So that is a little bit about the TM6. Feel free to get in contact with me if you would like a personal demonstration, and I'd be happy to show you more. All right, thanks for joining me. Bye.